Come take a trip in my airship. Come take a sail on the storm. Come have a ride around Venus. Come have a spin around Mars. Show us to us while we're busy. Show us to see while we school. Come take a trip in my airship and we'll visit the man in the moon.
Greetings, loyal airmen, and happy holidays. Here we are, back with episode 93 of the Airship 27 podcast. As
Yes,
ever,
sir.
I'm your host, Captain Ron Fortier, and joining me from the cold climes of Missouri, Chief Engineer Rob Davis.
Ho,
How you
ho,
doing, buddy?
Yeah, the temperatures have been pretty chilly. You guys in Colorado have been sending it our way the last couple weeks. It's kind of chilly, but yeah, we're getting ready for that fun day coming up very shortly. So, and hello, all you folks out there. It's been a little over a month since we've seen you. So, but we're back. We've got several things to talk about today. So, Ron, get her started.
Oh yeah, I get to do the bad joke first this episode. All right.
Oh boy.
So bear with me. Here we go. 3 old ladies are sitting around a table playing bridge, bragging about their sons. My Freddie, said Margaret. Everyone should be so lucky to have a son like my Freddie. Once a week, he brings me a huge bouquet of flowers. He's constantly bringing me out to restaurants to eat. If I so much as hint that I want something the next morning, it's on my doorstep. Well, that's very nice about your Freddie, says Gertrude. But with all due respect, when I think about the way my Sammy takes care of me, it just can't compare. Every morning, as soon as I wake up, he gives me bacon and eggs, freshly brewed coffee. Every lunch, he comes over and cooks me a gourmet meal. And every supper he brings me to the house for his supper, he truly treats me like a queen. Well, says Barbara, I don't want to make any of you feel bad or anything, but wait until you hear about my Harry. Twice a week, he pays someone $200 an hour just so he can lie on their couch and talk to them. And who do you think he speaks about at those prices? Well, I'll tell you, he speaks all about me.
Yes, he does. I'm sure of it. That's pretty good. Okay.
I don't know if we've been doing this podcast long enough. It's hard to find new long jokes.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of puns out there. You can find puns from now till doomsday, but finding a good long joke. Yeah, I had to dig a little bit to find the one I've got, but it's kind of in the same vein as yours, which is kind of funny. It's not exactly the same, but it's a distant relative.
All right.
So
okay, let's get on to what Airship 27 released since the last time we were with all you loyal airmen. Rob, you want to take the first?
All right, we'll get started here. Released since our last show, just a couple of days ago. We're recording this on the 20th of December, 2023. And just out a few days ago is Buck Jones in the 21st Century by Daryl Purcell. And by saying it's by Daryl Purcell, the whole book is by Daryl Purcell. He wrote it, he did the cover, he did the interior illustrations, and that's why this book came together so fast. I don't think we've talked about this one before this podcast, have we?
No, we haven't. No.
Yeah,
because it came out of left field.
Kind of popped up out of the blue.
Right.
So anyway, it's. I'll read the description and then we'll talk about it some more.
Yeah.
A fantasy adventure novel where the Western screen star of the past is brought into the future and helps a government agent foil a gang of terrorists in Arizona. Purcell not only delivered a great story, but as I mentioned, also did all the interior illustrations and the cover art. His first book for us but not his last. So
I hope not. It's
yeah,
like, hey, no, we've got several more in the queue
okay,
being worked on by other artists. All right.
okay,
Daryl's been self-publishing probably maybe a decade or so.
oh cool,
His past is he's a Vietnam veteran, and after he came home from military service, he went to work in Hollywood as an animator,
right,
and is a gifted artist in his own right. And I think eventually, after that career was over, moved to Arizona, where he now lives, and in retirement got into, much like we do at Airship 27, self-publishing. So I mean, if you go to Amazon and just simply type in the search engine Daryl Purcell, all his books are going to come up, and there's got to be at least a dozen of them there. So he and I hooked up when he started, kindly sending me some of these books to review for
cool.
my review blog. In the process, again, like I said, we became good friends, and he then started submitting manuscripts for us. So I know of two others that we have in the work right now. One's a science fiction apocalyptic thing about America losing World War II or whatever, and the Nazis have taken over America. That's in the works. We have a new artist who's doing illustrations for that. And then what I mentioned in the past, Rob, and you'll remember, Daryl has written a series of books, and for us here at Airship 27, about a group of Vietnam veterans living in a senior facility under the title Geezers. All right, so they're all like I think three Geezers novel. I have them in the queue. Our buddy and another military veteran, Mike Harris, is currently starting to work on the illustrations for the first volume of Geezers. And trust me, these things are hilarious. They're fun. They're well written. So yeah, hey, Daryl Purcell, welcome to Airship 27. All right. Okay. Up next, Sherlock Holmes Mysteries, Volume 3, a Kindle's only title by our dear buddy from England, Ian Watson. Now, this reprints a half a dozen tales by Ian from our Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective series, plus one new story, which will be printed in the forthcoming special, Volume 20. Rob took one of his earlier illustrations from the books, colored it, and that becomes the Kindle cover. And as I said, we've done two of these before, and Ian's fans love these things, obviously, all right, because it's their way of collecting all his Sherlock Holmes stories.
Yeah, every time we get the quarterly earnings, those books are right up there with everything else. So all the other Sherlock Holmes books. So every time we release a new one, of course, all of them kind of pop up on the in the sales numbers. But yeah, those Kindle only ones, collecting all of Ian's works, and we had one for Aaron, and Smith.
Aaron
Thank
Smith.
you.
Right.
We did one for him, and then he essentially retired from writing.
You can find him. You can find him on LinkedIn. He's a songwriter now. He's a musician.
Yeah, he's a very creative guy, and I guess he's jumping from this art to that art.
Right.
But now he's you were asking him if he was going to send us any more Sherlock Holmes stories or anything else, and he says, I'm essentially retired from writing. And okay. Yeah, because he's a great writer. So yeah, it's kind of our loss in that he's not doing that. But if he's writing some pretty cool songs, that's a very interesting thing to do next. So good on him, definitely.
Yep. All right, next up.
So next, going backwards in time here, folks. The previous to that, we released The Phantom Detective, Volume 2. This one's been a long time in coming. That first one did really well for us. But it took us a while to put this one together. This one features stories by Carson Dimmons, Gene Moyers, Fred Adams Jr., and Michael Housel. Kevin Paul Shaw Broughton provides the interior illustrations, and Adam Shaw, the classic pulp cover. As usual, Adam just knocked this one out of the park. It looks like one of those old pulp covers, but it's in his style, and it just as usual, he like I say, he knocked it out of the park. So this is another great collection of the stories from this very pulp character from back in the day, a very popular one.
Oh yeah, he was part of that handful of masked Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the joke of the Phantom Stranger to me, and you and I have talked about this a lot of times in past episodes. All right, was in those days one of the hardest jobs working for a pulp publisher was making covers look distinct enough that they would stand apart from the hundreds of other covers out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when Phantom Stranger comes along, in the stories themselves, he's socialite reporter Curtis Van Loan, all right, who works with this one newspaper, but he's also a commissioned agent for the police department as a special detective. And so he wears this mask and he has a gold shield and a fedora and whatever. Okay, well, they hand this off to the art director, right? And he's going, a fedora and a mask? Oh, come on. All right.
How many of those do they have on the stage?
Right. What are we going to do with this? And so whoever this guy was, right, he's a blooming genius as far as I'm concerned. He decides to put a headshot of Van Loan in a tuxedo with a top hat and a mask. Okay. And from that point on, every single cover of the Phantom Detective had the top hat and the mask, although he never once wears that getup in the stories.
Any story? No, it was So, you would think maybe the first story they were at a party and that's where they got the idea, but no, it was to make the distinction on the cover.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that worked.
Yeah,
it actually worked.
Yeah,
right.
If you see old pictures of a newsstand from back in the 20s and 30s, there was a whole wall of pulp books. Yeah. They came out weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and some of them came out weekly. Many of them were monthly, but my goodness, you see all these, and today we collectors look at that and go, oh, all that money we could make from all of those because they're very collectible.
Take a time travel trip back to New York, stop at a kiosk, buy one of each, come back here and become a millionaire.
Absolutely. Some of them, yes. Especially those first appearances, those are quite valuable. So anyway, yes.
All right. So then, prior to all this, we have back in print Jim Anthony Super Detective Volume 1. Now, in the past few months, several of you loyal airmen visited our Facebook page and requested we get to this first volume of our series, Jim Anthony Super Detective, back in print. So like other Airship 27s, up until now, it was still only available on Kindle. Okay, Rob listened to your request and within a few days got the book back in print at Amazon. It features stories by Erwin K. Roberts, Andrew Salmon, B.C. Bell, and has a gorgeous cover by Chris Sears. It is now part of our back in print edition and available at Amazon in paperback. Consider it our Christmas gift to all you loyal airmen.
Yeah, and realize this one, like all the other return to print books that we've made so far, is I lowered the page count by narrowing the margins on the inside and outside, so it would have fewer pages in it, and also lowered the price. All of our other books are $16.99, but these return to print ones are, I believe it's $12.99. That's me, depending on the old brain cells that don't always work quite right. But I believe it's $12.99, and so it's because in order for me to do this, I have to spend quite a bit of time on it, and we want some money for our creators. So I don't think these are going to sell like the new ones will. So making them a little lower, we might sell more of them. People
Right.
fly back and getting them. So
Right.
yeah, and it's back in prints, lower pages, a little bit narrower margins on them. So, but everything that was in the original is in there. The only difference is that those margins are just a little narrower.
Yeah.
Not a big price to pay. Yeah.
There you go. And I've already heard from two of the three writers who were delighted to see the book back in print again. So again, like I said, it's a happy Christmas present, and thanks, Rob, for doing that.
Anybody else who sees another, I'm not going to go back and look for books that we have, and the whole story behind this is we've been through two publishers before we started publishing ourselves.
Right.
So, and those books, when we moved to printing them ourselves, I assessed whether we should do all the back books that we had done before, and I really only went with some of them that were really, really popular, like the Brother Bones books and those kinds of books, and left the other ones for just Kindle on Amazon. So, and going forward, that worked. But now we've had some collectors come back to us and go, why can't I find this in paperback? Or if they go to Amazon and someone's got a used copy of it and they're selling it for 50, 60, 70 bucks. And we're going, oh, no, we can't have this. So I came up with this whole idea of going back. If somebody requests it, or if several somebody's requested, that's even better. Then I will go back and put it in this return to print. I'll narrow the margins, lower the page count, lower the price, and try to bring those back. So if anybody out there finds another one of those old books that they would like to see us put back in print, give me a holler online, either on Facebook or through. You can find my email address on our website, airship27@hangar.com, and send me an email or get a hold of me on Facebook, and I'll dig in and see if I can get that done. Some of the older ones I have found, I've dug in, and I don't have all the files I need, so it'll be a lot of work to put them back together. But those that I can do fairly easily, I'll do them pretty quickly. Like this one, I had to do a little bit of extra work because the files were not cooperating with me. So this one took a little longer than it should have. But if you really want one of those back in print, we'll try and get it done for you.
There you go.
Everything's in Kindle, so you can find it out there. If you just want to read it, cool. If you want a physical copy, let me know and we'll see.
We have collectors, and they have the other books in print. And that's and as collectors ourselves.
That's why we do this, is we're doing it for the fans. And if enough of them come to me and want that older book back in print, I'll see what I can do about getting it there for you. All right?
All right. Sure enough. Okay, so that's pretty much the output for the year 2023, Loyal Airmen. And we'll give a little time here to what you can expect, like what's coming next. All right. So it looks like our first title for the year 2024 will either be one of two titles. First, we have the 9th volume of Nancy Hansen's Pirate Queen saga, Jezebel Johnson, Captain. Now, Rob has finished all the black and white interiors, and we are waiting on artist Ted Hammond to deliver the cover. Or it could be Shadows of Love by R.A. Jones. This is a bona fide romance adventure novel, and James Lyle is doing all the artwork for it. Another nice touch, which helps. So he's turned in a cover that will blow your socks off, but now is working on the 9 black and white interior illustrations. So again, one of these two will most likely be our first release of the new year. And a close third could be our newest Domino Lady anthology, whereas West Coast artist Warren, and I'm drawing a blank, Montgomery,
okay,
all right, has finished the cover and is working his way through the illustrations, and probably within another week or two we'll have those done. So
January's going to be busy for Rob.
One of those three,
start
most
off with
likely,
a bang, which is unusual.
One of those three will kick off 2024. And Rob, what can they look forward to in the coming year?
Okay, as always, we've got quite a few exciting new titles in the works for 2024. chief of which is the special Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, Volume 20. If you've been watching this podcast, we've been ranting and raving about this for quite a few months now. There's several more volumes of Mystery Men and Women and pulp mythology in the works as well. At the same time, the second volume of The Adventures of Radio Rita is almost finished.
Yes.
Ron's really hot for this.
I love Radio Rita. Right.
And considering the success of Paramount TV's Bass Reeves miniseries that just finished its first stellar season, you can expect another volume of our own best-selling Bass Reeves Frontier Marshal series. Tons of good stuff, loyal airmen, and as ever, we hope you'll join us for the ride. As always. Yep.
As always.
So,
there you go. There you go.
Quite a few things in the queue.
Yeah. Were you able to catch any of those episodes, or do you have?
I do. What's it? It's on
Paramount Plus,
which I don't get.
Okay.
We're with all these streaming services. We're getting back to where we were with cable, where you're spending $50-$60 a month for 12 channels you don't watch, or at least. So I'm very particular. In this household, the only thing we're streaming at the moment, the costs, is Netflix. And even at that, we stream through. Every Saturday night, Teresa and I sit down to watch a movie or a TV series or whatever. And I'll sit there for like 20 minutes scrolling through looking for something to watch. Not interested in that. Oh, we've seen that. And just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I'm going, why would I pay for another service that I'm going to do exactly the same thing, scrolling through all these things and not finding anything to watch? But it's like Paramount Plus has one of my favorite television shows, Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
So, and here's the thing. I don't mind waiting until it's available to either buy as a download or on DVDs or Blu-ray, either one. Right. So I wait until the season is over and then I buy them. And then Teresa and I watch them as a weekly TV show.
Yeah.
When when I buy all those every week, I don't have to scroll through Netflix that week. I just pick the next episode of Strange New Worlds to watch. So that's how I did the same thing with the Perry Mason series. Right. I think there's been a second season of that.
There has been. Yes.
May wait a little while and see if I can get it a little cheaper. But I just wait until it's available for download, because there's a lot of other stuff on Paramount Plus that I really don't care whether I see or not. Right. But if the Bass Reeve thing comes in the same way, that's exactly what I'll do with it. I'll wait till it's.
I just pass it along. We watched it, faithfully. 8 episodes. I was taken with the creativity of it. Taylor Sheridan did a good job. All right. I mean, there are things that, history, you can't lock it down in cement. There were things about the series that, I'm nitpicky here. All right. But the point is, being such a fan, and I've got 3 or 4 volumes of Bass Reeves biographies in my library. All right. So, I mean, ridiculous little things that you scratch your head at. As we know, he married, a former slave as himself, living in Oklahoma, and they started a horse ranch. And eventually, between the two of them, had like 8 kids. All right. Now, this is all aside from his career as a lawman. Right. Well, the kicker is you watch the show and they have him farming. And I'm going, no, he had a horse ranch. Okay. Yeah. 2, his oldest was his son, Benny, which is really important to this whole saga of Bass Reeves. Not in this one. In this one, his first 2 kids are daughters. And it plays off this thing about the daughter being rebellious to her mother. And so when they're they're fictionalizing him just pretty much the way we're doing, right?
Yeah, so fictionalizing his career as well.
But where the series shines is when he's on the trail, when they have him as a U.S. deputy marshal, all right, And it starts off with him being a posse man for an older deputy. He becomes a deputy. We see him get his badge from Judge Parker, all right, who's brilliantly played by Donald Sutherland.
Oh,
all
yeah,
right?
I can imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, basically, I would give the series a B. All
Okay.
right. That's how much I really enjoyed it. And you know what, Rob? They were decent enough to close off a season story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, they
Okay.
called it the season finale. I am so hoping that it got great ratings and they'll come back. They have to do more.
Okay. The series, as I understand it, is about lawmen.
Right.
So this first season is about Bass Reeves. The next season will probably be about a different lawman.
That's
But
entirely possible.
with any luck, if this one does as well as we think it will, they'll come back maybe in a later season and do another season of Bass Reeves. But it sounds to me like what they're going to do is hop from lawman to lawman.
Right.
So so that's what's happening with that. And to be honest, to tell you, somebody has got the first episode online for free, and I watched like the first 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, where it shows him following along with his owner in a Civil War battle.
Right.
And it's very well done. It's kind of graphic. There's some graphic stuff in it. So those of you out there have a queasy stomach at some of this stuff, be prepared for that if you're going to watch it. But other than that, it's I can see how they're trying to set things up for later on in the series.
Yep.
So I'm waiting anxiously for it all to be on streaming, because I can buy from Apple, from their iTunes movies and TV stuff.
Okay.
So that's where I get it, and I download it. I've got it all at once. Or if it's cheap enough, I'll buy the DVDs or Blu-ray as well. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
In the end, I mean, I first heard about Bass almost 20 years ago now, and in the end, like I said, I'm giving it a B, but at the same time, I want people to watch this. America has to watch this. This is long overdue. All right, way overdue. All right, this guy was
often enough. He was not the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, despite what it seems like everyone says.
He was arguably.
It's been debunked by our good pal
Martin Grams.
Yeah, Martin Grams, and it's a silly thing. He should be able to stand on his own 2 feet. He should have no relationship with the Lone Ranger at all.
Look,
the creators of the Lone Ranger didn't even know who Bass Reeves was.
Right.
So
we go back to this, the easily greatest lawman who ever served post-Civil War Western frontier. All right. The man deserves the recognition and a huge part of our history in this country.
Yeah.
Upset.
And as far as I'm concerned, if you read the exploits of the Lone Ranger and you read the exploits of Bass Reeves, oh my gosh, he more than outshines the Lone Ranger. I mean, my goodness.
Totally.
So anyway, yeah. But
okay. Hey, now we get to the fun part. All right.
Okay.
It's part 2 of Bad Jokes.
Bad Jokes. All right.
Get it, Rob.
All right, here we go. A man walks out to the street and stops a taxi going by. He gets into the taxi and the cabbie says, "Perfect timing. You're just like Frank." "Who?" the man asked. "Frank Feldman. He was a cabbie who did everything right all the time. Like my coming along when you needed a cab, he was always in the right place at the right time. Things happened like that to Frank Feldman every single time." Passenger said, "There are always a few clouds over everybody." "Not Frank Feldman," the cabbie says. "He was a terrific athlete. He could have won the Grand Slam at tennis. He could golf with the pros. He sang like an opera baritone and danced like a Broadway star. And you should have heard him play the piano. He was an amazing guy, perfect in every way." "Really?" said the passenger. "Sounds like he was something really special." "There's more," said the cabbie. "He had a memory like a computer. He remembered everybody's birthday. He knew all about the wine, which foods to order, and which fork to eat them with. And he could fix anything. Not like me. I can change a fuse and the whole street blacks out. But Frank Feldman, he could do everything right. He never made a mistake. He was perfect. Wow, some guy then, said the passenger. Yeah, he always knew the quickest way to go in traffic and avoid traffic jams. Not like me. I always seem to get stuck in them. But Frank, he never made a mistake. And he really knew how to treat a woman and make her feel good. He was the best lover and could take his wife to the top of the mountain. He would never answer her back, even if she was in the wrong. His clothing was always immaculate. Shoes highly polished, too. He was the perfect man. He never made a mistake. No one could ever measure up to Frank Feldman. Passenger says, this Frank Feldman was an amazing fellow. How did you meet him? Cabby says, well, I never actually met Frank, but I had the pleasure of being married to his widow. That one creeps up on you, doesn't it? I had to explain it to Teresa when I told her.
No, I get it. I totally
Oh, yeah. Being compared to Frank Feldman. Okay, sure.
That's awesome. Great joke. Great joke. All right. Hey, terrific. All right. Let's I know this is a short one, Loyal Airmen, but you know what? It's the holiday seasons. Rob's getting ready to shut down Hangar 27. All of us are going to be on vacation. And we want to leave you with our best holiday wishes for a great Merry Christmas and a fantastic New Year. And again, our undying gratitude for all your support. Okay. I mean, Rob and I started this as a fun thing, 15 years ago, and never realized how it was going to mushroom and become what it has. And that's all because of you.
Yep.
Okay. So from the bottom of our hearts, thanks so much. Happy holidays. Rob, anything you want to add before we sign off?
The only thing is, I think at the first of the year, sometime in January, we're going to do what we always do every year. We'll do that. We'll rehash everything from the previous year. We'll go down and talk about each book that we had during the last 12 months. And look forward to that. Not sure when we'll be able to do that yet, but look for that in January. And it looks like quite a few books coming out from us during the next month or so. Several of them in the queue are starting to pile up behind the dam. As soon as that dam breaks, whoosh, here they come. So then that happens, and then we'll probably go for a month and not have anything come out. But that's how that goes.
Up and down.
It's feast or famine is how I always call it. It's kind of like the way it was when I was a freelancer in comic books. I'd either have more projects that I could possibly work on, or suddenly I'd be, okay, where is anybody out there hiring anybody? And no, out, there. That's the way it goes sometimes.
It is.
So anyway,
it is.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you all.
Sign us out.
All right, this is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And as ever, Captain Ron has the fun, the pleasure, the enjoyment to say, down ship.